Oi, oi, Savoys. Yes, it is Thursday, and in the UK it's 9. So, of course, that means it's UK Cowboys time. And I'm outnumbered here with the Scots. It is myself, that is Lorne, that is Graham, and that is Paul. How you doing, guys?
Good.
Yeah, doing good. Just catching up on the latest trials and tribulations of Paul getting to the States, so.
Yeah. Needless to say, I wouldn't mention the airliner, but the airliner can really just jump off a cliff real quick here.
It rhymes with shoe-s Airlines.
Wow, this is a really
that's
dead.
That's the Caribbean sister company.
This is when we find out then they've secretly sent a message to us like, hey, we'd love the show, we'd like to sponsor you. And we're like, oops.
Yes. Yeah. We really like that Paul guy.
Yeah. We won't talk about the time with the suitcase and all that came round on the conveyor belt thing was just the suitcase handle. That's a story for another day. Yes, guys, it is season 3, episode 136, episode 6 of season 3, and it is the pregame show for the Eagles. So we are going to be looking at all the ins and outs about how the Cowboys will get the win. Yeah, it is though something that I put in the post today. Cowboys' first home game at AT&T.
Yep, sure is.
Yep.
Few weeks in. The only thing I will say that frustrated me, and I noticed this when the schedule came out, is that the Panthers play tonight. We play on Monday, but then we have the Panthers on the Sunday. So they've got a nice long break between when we play them and when we played the Eagles on the short week.
Yeah.
The stiffing of the NFL schedule. Yeah. Damn.
And that just adds to the post on Twitter tonight to Derek Eagleton. So
I mean, it swings and roundabouts, I suppose, because we had extended time to prepare for the Chargers, so.
That's true.
Somewhat true. Yeah. They just didn't play on the Monday night, though.
Yes, exactly.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But should we get into the news and updates so that we can crack on with looking into the show? Crack on looking at the game ahead. So we'll bosh on with that and go from there. Okay, then. So, we got a bit of a list to get through, guys. First thing, straight out the gate, Keanu Neal on the COVID list. Doesn't have it, but he was in close contact. So, he's got to go and do the self-isolation. All depends. It's literally a big, massive question mark. And I feel this game is a game where he could come in handy. Yeah, so that's a big one. Another big one, Donovan Wilson. Groin injury, and these injuries, groins, especially in defensive backs, tend to linger, and they'll raise their ugly head throughout the season. So that's a big one as well. Carlos Watkins has a knee injury. Another big one is Dorrance Armstrong, with a high ankle sprain. He's going to be out, I reckon, for about 3 weeks. High ankle sprain's another one where you're kind of screwed there. Amari Cooper's dealing with some rib soreness. Lyle Collins is still under suspension. Tyne Secchi is still dealing with the heat stroke / illness. He's confirmed as out. The other one is a Longhorns player has been added to the practice squad. Cornerback Holton Hill. So he's been added, and they're gonna, see what they've got there. In other news, though, Neville Gallimore, he's at practice. He's on the cords. Yep. That means he's probably about 2 to 3 weeks away. So as good news as it is, it's always good. Any progression that you hear of is always good news. But we still got to wait and see on that one. You never know how it's going to go. And the other news then, because somebody asked me the question to ask over in Dallas. Kelvin Joseph, no news. No news on the date. So we're going to be looking, I reckon, mid-season, which isn't a bad thing because I think he needed a bit of development.
It's another groin injury. So, I mean, cornerbacks need the full movement. So it's not something you want to be rushing back. Otherwise, you risk re-aggravating the injury, and then you'd need to spend more time on. Better to let it heal as best you can, and then get him back out.
And we all know here at UK Cowboys what aggravation's like, so I'm not going to go there though. You guys got anything to add about those injuries before we quickly move on? I am going to add one more thing before we move on, but you guys want to talk about any of those injuries?
Yeah, for me, the biggest one is Keanu Neal. We talked in a little bit on the post game about how we can move linebackers around, and especially if we're going to have Parsons at defensive end, having Neal and Cox would have been a nice fill in. So hopefully Neal can get through the protocol. Is he double vaxxed? Do we know?
Keanu Neal is not. No, I don't think he is.
No. Mark Carter just put the comment in there. I'll bring it back up.
There we go.
So that's why it's kind of different in terms of the whole Randy Reddy situation. So thanks again with the comment, Mark. Thank you.
Yes.
Well, again, it leaves us. I mean, not only because of the situation elsewhere, it leaves us a little bit thin at linebacker. If he's out, we don't. It's not confirmed yet, so we'll see if he's out. But yeah, that's for me. That's the biggest concern. I don't know if Wilson would start. But again, getting a little bit thin there. But it's frustrating because we're only 3 weeks in, and we're I mean, when you go on.
No. We do seem to have been hit with the injury stick at the moment, and COVID's reason that we've had more in COVID this year than we had all last year when people weren't vaccinated. So, we seem to be it swings and roundabouts. What we missed out on last year seems to be kicking in this year. Dorrance Armstrong, Carlos Watkins, and Ty Nzeki have all been listed as out for this week. Yeah. So start preparing without them. Probably means you are going to see Parsons in at DE. The good thing is that I think Leighton, Van Der Esch, and even Jalen last week actually had pretty good games. If they can, I think the play of Parsons has probably lit a fire under number 9. And he's trying to up his game, and he's doing a good job. He's doing a better job this year. So, and you can see the main thing as well is he's holding in any need to do the swipe. So, he's not drawing the ire of Cowboys fans or the referees, not seeing any flags for taunting because he's doing the swipe against anybody. So, I think we can maybe get by, but I mean, it'd be lovely to have Keanu Neal back. It just obviously we need to see how quickly we can get him through the protocol.
Yeah. I mean, we'll talk about Parsons in a bit because obviously that's going to be for me when I've, as you know, gone through the analytics. I lead a boring life. Going through it, Parsons is the key on defense. We'll get to that in a little bit. The reasons why, some of it's purely obvious, and that's why I think I agree with you with the Keanu Neal. As well as Dorrance Armstrong as well, because the two kind of make a massive hole. It's like a black hole in one, instantly, because you've got a linebacker that's missing and a defensive end. So you're going to have to do something there. So Keanu Neal helps soften what Parsons can do. So I agree. But the only other thing I'm going to add is there is for UK Cowboys no virtual tailgate this week. Obvious reasons. Cowboys are playing Monday Night Football, which means on Monday night It's /Tuesday morning. Kickoff at 1:15 in the morning. Yay, Monday Night Football. Man, it's killer, honestly. Only because you spend all of Saturday watching college football. So you finish that about 4 o'clock in the morning. A little bit of a lie-in if the wife lets you. Then it's Sunday football. You got that. And like normally you think, like say Cowboys kick off at 9 p.m. here in the UK. That finishes about midnight. You're like, sleep. But no. Not when it's Monday Night Football. You got to do it all for another day. By that time, the bags under the eyes have turned into, your eyes look like the Michelin Man.
Yeah, just basically, people ask us, it's like, what's that? With a Monday Night Football, I feel as though we age 5 times a lot quicker. Like I know I have anyway.
Like that's what happens when you're the biggest franchise in the world. People want to watch you. That's just the grudge we have to bear, unfortunately.
I mean, like we've struggled. We've had many very weird conversations on a Tuesday morning.
Oh yes, we have.
Sleep deprived conversations on a Tuesday. They are weird.
If people want to kind of tap into the conversations that are held, just go back and watch part 3 of our 24-hour show. I reckon around maybe 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. It's strange.
No. I would say no because they'll be freaked out.
Yeah, there is that. People will start to get concerned, and then we'll have Barry G from Cowboys Experience, which I'm going to do in a minute. Our sponsor go in. Yeah, let's cancel these guys. They're a bit strange for me. But just a very quick one before we continue on with the show, guys. Cowboys Experience, especially for people in the UK, these are our sponsors. They have tailgate parties and game day packages that you guys will not want to miss. And for a little added extra, say the word to them, UK Cowboys, and that we sent you because, guys, all together now, what do they give you?
You get free stuff.
And it's as simple as that, guys. And if you do go to any...
Rich literally, he described it. He literally said, like, UK Cowboys, send. And that's it. Free stuff.
And that's it. He knows that you've come there. Especially if you're a member of UK Cowboys as well. But, all right, let's look at the Cowboys offense then, guys. Alrighty. So I think it's it's pretty easy, I think, to just turn around and say best player on the offense, Dak Prescott, and that's where it begins and ends. Yeah. Should we just start and end there?
Yeah.
All right, onto the defense.
I just want to tap into the post-game show against the Chargers. I think straight off the bat, Brian couldn't wait to ask me about the offensive line, and in particular, our troubles at right tackle. And I had to say to him, I was very, very encouraged.
Yeah.
I will hold my hand up and say, maybe, just maybe, small sample size, but just maybe, I've been a little bit critical.
But that's fine.
Well, this
you're only basing on what you've already seen.
Exactly. I mean, I can only make a judgment on what we've seen. And the opportunity was there. We picked Parsons and we move on. So that's how I'm going to look at it. And what a pick it looks so far. I'll just reiterate, what a pick. Anyway, if we can continue to get the correct play, the right play, the high level of play from the swing tackle position, maybe I'll back off a little bit. Maybe I'll stop putting offensive line so high on the list. I mean, but you can only see what you've seen, and so far, with a small sample size, I'll say again, it does look encouraging.
Yeah. He's been working out. He's been working out all summer with Duke Manyweather, the internationally renowned offensive line coach, and and I mean he's been putting a hell of a lot of work in, and Duke's actually been posting a lot of videos this week because his other client is Rashawn Slater. So the two videos that he's been posting a lot of this week are of those two guys. Obviously, they had sterling performances this week because we, as good as Micah Parsons was, we ended up having to move him across against Storm Norton because he wasn't getting the pressure against Rashawn Slater. So, now
he absolutely bullied Storm Norton.
Yeah. Steele's got a big test coming up this week against the Philadelphia line because they like to move everybody around. You got Ryan, you got Kerrigan, you've got Josh Sweat.
By the way, before you continue, if you're going to say Ryan Kerrigan, change it for Seth MacFarlane, please. Go take a look at the picture. He is Seth MacFarlane's brother.
Right.
Honestly, every time I see his face, I'm like, oh my God, it's Family Guy.
Yeah.
Mike does this stuff when he takes a break from analytics.
I look at lookalikes.
Yep. You've also got Derek Barnett and you've got Fletcher Cox as well. So all of these guys have been Cowboy killers in the past. So I mean, they're the big concern this week, and I mean they will be teeing up to attack the weak link of the line. Now, whether it's Steele or whether it's Biadish, it's up to them to make that call. But this is somewhere we need to build on last week and establish the ground game so that you don't give we can pound it down the throats, control the time of possession, and then don't give Philadelphia a lot of time to play the ball.
Yeah, and that is what I was going to say. When we got to defense, I was going to mention about Bradley and I got 2 pressures against Rashawn Slater, which is quite interesting. Old T-Rex arms getting it done. But all right then, guys. Big news, I think, the big one. We're talking about injuries, and our injury list is big. One of the big things for this Cowboys offense is Brandon Graham has gone to IR.
Yes, I was just about to mention that.
Go on and go for it, mate. I'll set you up, you knock it down.
Yeah, so I didn't know that till yesterday when I was invited to the British Eagles podcast. Despite their rivals, nice guys, but sorry guys, but we are still going to beat you. So they filled me in that Brandon Graham's trying to be out injured. He's not going to be in this game, which is a big bonus for us because he is one of the rocks of that Eagles defense. So, but if there was something, I'm kind of go off something here. Like, if there's one thing I noticed with the 49ers game against the Eagles, is their inside defensive line were getting blown up. They were getting blown up out of the water. The gaps were getting ridiculously really bad. So, and kind of what Mark's saying is run the ball. Absolutely. Yes. I think for this game, this is going to be a game for Zeke because he is more about the inside run, whereas Paul is more the outside type of guy. So I think this is going to be the game for Zeke this time.
Especially when you look at their linebacker core. Their linebacker core against the run is very, very bad. In terms of coverage and pass rush, not so bad. They're all right, actually. But in terms of everything else, I mean, like when you look, you've got Eric Wilson, Alex Singleton. Between the pair of them over the last 2 years, they've got 56 missed tackles.
Yep.
Against running backs as well, that is.
So is Fletcher Cox not the player he used to be?
He is declining. I would say he's getting long in the tooth, but he's still good.
He's still good, but he's just not got that. I wouldn't say killer instinct, but it's like the way how Ndamukong
getting long in the tooth. Yeah.
Because now that
like Suh is still a good player, but it's not what he's like when he was at Detroit. It's like that's what Fletcher Cox is like right now. Like he can still cause an impact, but not the way he used to be.
I mean, just from what I know about the Eagles D line, that's the two players I'm looking for is Derek Barnett and Fletcher Cox. But if you guys are suggesting that their running lanes are plentiful, then that's encouraging.
Yeah,
especially the way we controlled the running game last week. I mean, just short of 200 yards on the ground.
The biggest issue we've got is Hargrave, and him against Biadish is a very nasty matchup. I've been looking at it. The only way I can see is they're going to have to double team him with Connor Williams. So that's going to put the left-hand side of the line and under a bit more pressure. But I've got some stats for you, going through the analytics, right? So it's all about Dallas Cowboys on early downs, running the ball to create third downs. So on first and second downs, Cowboys are actually first in EPA. That's between Zeke and obviously Tony Pollard. Eagles defense versus the run on early downs, on first and second downs, they're 13th.
Yeah, so I mean they're still good.
They're mediocre. It's mediocre, average. Yeah.
Middle of the pack.
Yeah. And the third down. I'm trying to have a look. Dallas is third in third down conversion on offense. The Eagles defense is fifth in stopping third down. So the third down is where it's going to be tricky. But one thing I will say, when you stop and you think about this, right? People are saying a lot about the Eagles defense in that sense. But think about who they played. They got the Falcons, so Matt Ryan and whatever's going on with their receiver core in the first game. In the second game, Jimmy G. And I don't even want to start with the San Francisco 49ers wide receiver core. Like, when you stop and you think about it, they have not faced a wide receiver core like the Dallas Cowboys yet this season.
Mike, sorry to kind of jump ship, just for Austin. As far as we know, we don't think there's been any new updates about it.
No, not yet. Stephen Jones has said that they're involved, and that's as far as you can talk about it.
I wouldn't hold much hope for it, I have to admit. I mean, you're talking about the same organization that gave that suspension out to Zeke Elliott with no police involvement. So they really are a law unto themselves. They don't go by any book. They take each case individually. So I wouldn't hold your breath, Austin.
Yep.
But that was the big thing on offense I've looked at. The other thing, I don't know what you guys, if you want to talk about the, because like you're talking about Ryan Kerrigan, a lot of stuff that jump off at the page for you is non-statistical stuff. So it's more how they, the defensive ends and in the middle as well, how they try and slow down running lanes. They're quite good in that way, is working together as a unit. Because in terms of like, with Seth MacFarlane, with his sack totals, is that he's had 18 sacks in his career, and he's been in the NFL for 12 years.
It's not Seth MacFarlane, for fuck's sake.
Mate, I'm telling you, just Google him right now, and you'll see his face, and you'll go, "Oh my God, that's the same guy." So I mean the offense, I'm not worried about it at all. Like, just going through it, like Lamb against Slay. I mean, so Darius Slay so far in his career has given up a 61.2 quarterback rating. So far 11 targets, 6 receptions, 36 yards. But Slay misses a lot of tackles. His missed tackle rate is quite high. So him against Lamb, because you think about it, he's going to play back Slay, and you don't really want to do that to Lamb. You just want to get the ball in his hands as quick as you can, because Lamb's all about the after the catch, the yak, where The other side, Coops, he's more about the route and getting deep. And that's where I think if you get a one-on-one matchup with them pair, if it's that way round, it's pick your poison. Because on the other side, you got Steve Nelson. He's given up a quarterback rating of 107.9 in his career. But he doesn't miss tackles.
Is there any chance that Cooper misses this game?
I don't think it sounds like it does. Apparently, he's dealing with some rib soreness where week 1 this comes back from, where he caught the touchdown pass and landed on the ball, and it was underneath him. Remember, he got up quite slow and he kind of got helped up. It's all from that. And then last week he got that 3rd down conversion where he caught the ball and he did the same thing again and aggravated it. Yeah. So it stems all from that. But I think Cooper, he's going to play anyway, and I think
he'll play.
Yeah, even if you have him out there. Yeah, you could just have him out there to run routes.
Mark makes a really great point here. I find that could be the blessing of disguise. Cooper, like, we'll have Cooper there, but I don't think he's just going to be there as more of a decoy, I think.
Yeah. And I mean, we're worrying about Fletcher Cox
great
as
point,
well,
Mark.
guys.
Great comment.
We're all talking about Fletcher Cox and going, don't forget, he's going to be up against Zach Martin, who was the number 1 offensive player last week. I'm not worried about that.
I'm not worried about that.
No, I mean, my only concern is that the Eagles see Coop as a decoy and double team Lamb because we don't have Gallup. But on the other hand, I'm not so sure that the passing game is the Cowboys' number 1 weapon at the moment.
Not for this game.
No, definitely not. I mean, when you saw the almost 200 yard performance against the Chargers,
against a really good defense as well.
Yeah. I mean, I've been questioning the amount of involvement that Tony Pollard can get for a while now. But if they're going to split carries between him and Zeke, then the sky's the limit. Because if you can get Pollard out wide as a wide receiver, I mean that just opens up all sorts of trouble for a questionable secondary. And if they can keep Zeke fresh, then it leaves him to ground in the 3rd and 4s inside the goal line and all that kind of stuff. So it's a double-headed sword. It really is.
Then you've also got CD Lamb running the ball out the backfield as well. I mean, for 13 yards, that was a pretty good call. I mean, it certainly gave all these sort of things can add a little wrinkle that will just cause fits for a defense. And
none of us so far has mentioned Jarwin and Schultz.
I was just trying to say that. Well, I was trying to make a point. I was asked this on the Eagles podcast last night regards to the whole Zeke and Tony Pollard situation. It's like, do you think Zeke's past it? Do you think whatever? Listen, I think that's just a big pile of crap. Yeah. So, like, the reason that this is my honest, this is my opinion. Like everyone's entitled to that. Like, I think split the carries is more of a thing just to make it a bit more diverse, but also prolonging Zeke to last a lot longer. There's him being the type of running back.
17-game season.
Exactly, and not to mention the type of contract he's on. We don't want him to miss out a season or retire early or that type of thing. So splitting the carries, I think, is a great thing. Like, they can talk about the contract all they want, as long as he's out there in the field. Like, he still scored 70-odd yards and a touchdown.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. That's still
he got
good.
over 100 yards total offense. He got over 100 yards total offense.
So to me, so for that whole talk about him, he's done. But shut up. Just shut up, right? But anyway, but back to
we'll continue on with the Zeke thing because I got one as well. Everybody has, I mean, I'll let you guys all talk over me. You guys go first. I mean, go on. If you got a Zeke take, and I got a Graham.
The big thing for me is obviously we have 4 NFC East games in the last 5 or 6 weeks of the season, and that's when you want, in December. When we're up in New York, Philly, wherever, this is when we want to be able to pound the ball, because Christ knows what the weather's going to be like. You might have snow, you might have rain. Passing's not going to be there. You want Zeke healthy. So if we can spell him now and have him hit in the stride for come December, then that's going to be put us in good stead for the season.
It's going to play a big, massive advantage for us going in the long run, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean,
and go on, Greg. Go on.
This conversation that Paul brought up, obviously, that the Eagles, the Irish and British UK Eagles have jumped all over. They've been watching Good Morning Football. And
that was exactly it. That was exactly it.
In my personal opinion, Good Morning Football talk an awful lot about fantasy, and they like to make statements that get shared and liked and stir pots, like Paul saying, and all that kind of stuff. And I brought up the scenario in the post game. I'm going to paint. I'll tell you the same scenario. It's 3rd and 7 inside the red zone, and you're 5 points behind, but the defense is called a zero blitz. Which running back are you putting in? I know exactly which running back I'm putting in. You know, it's a ridiculous thing to say, but it's worked because the Eagles podcast has jumped on it and they've talked about it. So it brings up the Good Morning Football program. Best of luck to them, but I think it's a nonsense statement. It's more of a fantasy statement than anything else.
That's exactly it.
I mean, like, one of the things as well, like, you don't see it on the stat sheet and you don't even feel it or see it on TV. But speaking to the guys over in Dallas Cowboys media, they're saying, look, when Zeke is on the field, you feel it. Like that the defense, it is different. When Zeke is on the field as opposed to Tony Pollard and you're standing there, you can see it and you can feel that pressure. And like, it's a totally different feeling when Zeke and Tony are on. And what you're just talking about, it's playmaking ability and threat. That you've got to contain Zeke. Because at any moment that guy's going off, he's running down the field for 91 yards and a touchdown if you let him. Because we've seen it. And it's everything. That there's just this whole different persona on the defense when Zeke's on the field. And we don't get to see that. And we don't feel it either.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's been said by a few of the reporters that have been down on the sideline that when Zeke's pounding into the holes and everything like that, the sounds that are resonating around the stadium are immense. Where Pollard is obviously the more flashy speed, is a change of pace guy. But I mean, he can lay a hit. I mean, you've seen him bouncing off some defenders on those runs last week. You know, that's I'm not saying that he's any worse than Zeke, but I mean, you know, obviously Zeke is used to all the way through Ohio State, all the way through the first 4 or 5 years in the league. All he has done is hit those ground and pound yards down the middle of the offensive line. And, you know, he will make people think twice about coming in for a tackle on them.
And don't forget why the Cowboys drafted Zeke. The Cowboys drafted Zeke because we had Tony Romo and we wanted to add to what we had with the offensive line and keeping Tony Romo healthy. Because when he was at Ohio State, I can't remember. I can remember at the time I posted the statistics, but it was something like Zeke, whilst in college, was asked to pass block 132 times. In that time, 0 sacks, 0 pressures.
Yeah,
which is an incredible start, especially when you think of what the Big Ten is like.
It's got to make Dak more comfortable as well, knowing that Zeke is there to pick up a blitz. I mean, how could it not? Yeah. I mean, like with the best will in the world, Tony Pollard is not a 3-down back. It's as simple as that, and that's why Zeke is still a starter. Yeah.
For me, though, I don't know what you guys think before we move to the defense. For me, it is all about running the ball in this game. If they can get the running backs to the second level, to those linebackers, man, you just get your face in there. Just get Zeke, get Tony's face into theirs. Just get because it's draining, it's deflating to a defense when it's done that way too. And I think that's the key.
Yep. Just before you just mention we're moving out of this, we actually almost forgot again the unsung people that we're going to talk about was the tight ends.
The tight ends. Yeah, I wrote another. I mean, like their safeties. They got. I'm trying to remember their safeties. Hold on. Anthony Harris. So he's not a bad safety actually. Versus coverage, 67.1 quarterback rating. Although last year, very bad. He was like, he gave up a 121.4 quarterback rating. He gave up like 4 touchdowns. So to me, though, at the moment, like with the tight ends and the running backs, because these, and this is a good thing to think about, that if the running game is starting to like struggle a little bit, this Eagles defense hasn't faced a decent wide receiver core yet. They have now. So if I'm Kellen Moore and I'm going, let's test it out then. The running game, okay, we don't know. Let's see what they're like against the pass then. They have not had this yet. And you just go to it and see what you've got.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I'm doing it.
Watch out for Cedric Wilson in this game as well.
Yeah,
I think so too.
I'll bring the chip up again.
Mark made a really good comment of that. Like, I'm kind of I'm in the same boat. If there's a linebacker lined up on Wilson in the red zone, I think we're kind of expecting Dak to kind of read that. So yeah.
Let me just get up. So if they're playing in like a nickel defense, really you're going to be looking at Avonte Maddox coming into play. Is it trying to do analytics on the fly here? Okay, so it's fairly balanced, but what you got to think of is what are we looking at? Yeah, so if I can just get up Cedric Wilson, because here is where there could be a big mismatch. So if I just get his stats up a minute, because Avonte Maddox, not bad in coverage in terms of what he can do, especially from the slot, but years where it could win. Avonte Maddox is 5'9". Cedric Wilson is nearly 6'3". There's a great mismatch. So I'm going to use Cedric Wilson from the slot. And bear in mind, if they decide when they're in the nickel defense to put him against Lamb, same problem again. Same thing with Amari Cooper. So you're going to have to play him from the slot, but we've got big guys. We've got tall, lanky guys. We haven't even mentioned Noah Brown that you can put in there.
Mm-hmm. And just to touch on the tight ends for a minute, their pass blocking was highly, highly improved.
Agree.
I think that's gonna help. If that can continue, that's gonna help on Monday night, definitely. Because that's the biggest threat coming from the D, is the defensive ends.
Yeah,
I'm not going to play.
Dalton Schultz put in a real shift when he was called on to block. I mean, you saw him laying the lid into a lot of guys there. So it was obviously something he's worked on over the off season, and it was maybe a point of emphasis this week, especially obviously needing to help out with Steele for a little bit. So if we can build on that, and the worst thing you want is, as Mike says, is somebody just falling down slowly as your block. So the more that these guys can do. Now, they'll be the one thing I would say, if you're calling on them to pass, Alex Singleton, the linebacker for the Eagles, he's a very cerebral linebacker. I liken him to Sean Lee. He used to play for the Calgary Stampeders in the CFL. He controlled the Calgary Stampeders defense that led the league in the last year that he was there, and he led the league with something like 116 tackles. And I think obviously he's undersized, but he's very good in pass coverage. The undersize is probably why he's bouncing off a lot of these tackles on the running game. He's getting blocked out of the way, that sort of thing. But I mean, he knows how to get himself in the right position to make the tackle on a pass play, break up balls. So he's somebody that you can't just discount.
Yeah, and for me, the linebackers, they are quite good at the coverage side of it all. I like if they're going to try and put, if you're going to go down that way, if they put Avery over Schultz, that's another great matchup. I think he can beat that particular matchup. If I can try and I'm trying to do all this quickly on the fly. I should have been more prepared, but I'm not. So there you go. 6 foot 250. So he's not bad, really, in that sense of defending tight ends. He's all right. It's a fairly balanced matchup, but I'm not going to play much 12 man. I'm definitely going 21. That's where I'm going on this. So, I mean, in terms I think we're all in agreement. It's all about going down and busting, going into the gut, inside zone. If you need to, bounce it outside as well because they've got the time. I think, and again, Steele, I think in particular, this is another good game where you're going to see him a slightly easier matchup than last week because it's not Joey Bosa. And we're going to actually see if there's consistency there. Which is nice. So we'll see if it's us there. Should we move to the defense, the fun stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Cool.
All right, let's do it. And rightio. I've always got to do an Australian accent when we move into the next segment. Not sure why, but it works. Right, okay. Fair to say, the best player for the Eagles is Jalen Hurts by a mile. But here's something interesting and a stat that straight away stood out to me, right? So check this out. Jalen Hurts so far this year, 58 pass attempts. That's 21st in the league. 7.8 yard per attempt. That's 14th in the league. But he has a better quarterback rating than Dak Prescott with 108. I think it's pretty obvious where Jalen Hurts is making his money, right?
Yep.
It's definitely not with his arm. We was talking earlier about Parsons in the defensive end spot. I think this is a case of you don't do that. Not that you don't do it, because somebody asked me in the week, does Parsons stay at defensive end? And I said no. And the reason I say no is that in the past, right? Okay, let's go back through it all. It's like I mean, put it this way, right? In the past, we knew what a defense would do. They wouldn't alter, they wouldn't change. You got Jason Garrett with everything else going on over there on the defense. You knew what they were going to do. And it was, this is what we're doing. Beat us this way. And most of the time they would. But this defense, from what I've seen so far, is that it's been, right, this is what this team's like. We're going to do it this way. Next week, this is what this team's like. So let's change it up. And they're alternating their defense to how it goes, which is what I think they're going to do with Parsons. The Parsons now becomes, what you do with him depends on how they want to play the defense. So in this particular case, all I want Parsons to do is get to Hurts and contain him. Don't let him run around. Don't let him break out, because Hurts and Parsons, like Parsons in terms of speed, he's going to get to him every time. And all you do is you just go, your job is Hurts. That's
it's funny you say that, because that was brought up in the post game. I can't remember. Paul, can you remember who was it said? It was one of the viewers that said that basically make Parsons the QB spy.
You could do that
for the entire game.
Pretty much.
Yeah. That is exactly what I would do.
I mean, the one thing you want to do though as well is to counter Jalen Hurts is you want to keep him in the pocket. You want him as a pocket passer, because that's where he's ineffectual. When he's all of his passes tend to be bubble screens, short passes. As evidenced by the 7.8 yards per attempt. He lulls you to sleep with that, and then they try the 60-yard bomb, which they tried with Quez last week, and they will take the odd gamble and throw it down the field, but everything is.
He got a 91-yard reception on that play.
Yeah. Everything is predicated on what Jalen Hurts can do to buy time, and it's almost like going back to the 80s when Randall Cunningham was under center, and you had to basically put a spy on him because he was running about causing defense fits if you were going after him. He would twist, turn, and he'd be halfway down the field the next thing you knew. So you've got to put a spy on him, I think, but at the same time you've got to keep him in the pocket to be ineffectual. If he's out there running, then and I think the other thing as well, if you look at the Philadelphia running game is actually one of the best in the league in terms of the stats. But if you actually go into the stats, the majority of their rush yards are actually from Hurts. So the running backs aren't anything special. It's more a case that Hurts is breaking down. When the rush lanes are open, he's out there running down the field, and he's getting the yards there and keeping the drives alive. And that's why they've had a lot of, they were able to put the pressure on in week 1. They kept the 49ers close. Obviously, the 49ers defense is much improved this year, basically because they got everybody healthy. But I mean, their offensive, where it's going to be won or lost, I think, is on the offensive line. And again, we talked about this offline last night. And I think Paul mentioned it on the Eagles podcast, was that their offensive line, it hasn't got together yet. It hasn't gelled.
Yes.
We've said there that Lane Johnson is, he's slowed down a bit. Landon Dickerson, the rookie. Just hasn't. He's got a steep learning curve anyway because of the move up to the program. You've got Jordan Mailata, the guy that's just signed a big contract. He's never played American football in college, or not until late on in college. He was a rugby player. So he's one of these guys that have converted from another sport. But obviously signed a new contract recently that obviously the Eagles have got their faith in him developing a bit further and becoming a superstar for them.
Their offensive line is getting long in the tooth too,
Yeah.
Going back to what you were saying. And add in as well to what you were saying about Jalen Hurts. I just went back and checked. Ignore the 91-yard bomb. Jalen Hurts, if you take that away, Jalen Hurts' A-dot is 3.6 yards. So it goes back to what you're saying, that it's all screens and bubble screens.
Remember, going back to these QBR for the season, that was vastly earned against the Falcons, who are well on their way to getting another top 5 pick in the spring. So let's not get too carried away with the QBR. Like you're saying, the long ball is Hurts' biggest threat, but I think we've got the safeties to deal with that now. We've seen plenty of flash plays from our safeties, and the turnovers are there as well.
Here's a question for you, right? And this is absolutely crazy to say, right? But on our defense, do you think safety is now a position of strength for the Cowboys defense?
It's got to be. I mean,
it has to be.
How weird is that to say?
I mean, this is top of the argument. The Cowboys lead the league in turnovers.
They do.
When was the last time you said that? It comes from our safety position.
The safety.
It's as simple as that. I mean, see if KZ makes another big stop in the red zone, build a statue. I mean, honestly, build a statue. I mean, it's a game a week just now. I mean, what more does the guy need to do? I don't think he was the biggest splash in free agency. I think there were bigger names that came in, but wow, he's made a huge difference in the back end of the defense. Brilliant.
And I mean, I mean, that interception that was turned down by Curse as well. I mean,
yeah,
I think Curse's name was getting called numerous times as well because he was in the backfield making tackles. He was, as soon as the pass was completed, it was, the guy was knocked to the ground, everything like that. So, our safety players, the fact that Wilson's been out, you thought, oh, we haven't got a hitter. We've got basically Hooker, who's probably a free safety.
Coverage guy, yeah,
the coverage guys. But I mean, God, they were laying the smack down last week. So, they're capable of it, and they're providing veteran leadership for a cornerback core that outside Anthony Brown, you've got guys that are in first or second years.
Yeah, and like you think Hooker was in last week. All right, it wasn't a perfect game by him, but his first game back after being out of a year, he did okay. I think he was all right. But going back to Curse, I actually think that was his career game. That was the best game I think he has ever played. That was by far his best. And here's another point to note. We haven't finished with the safeties yet. That we still haven't seen, which is perfect news. We haven't seen Israel Mukuamu. And people are saying, some people are like, oh, Israel. And it's like, no, to not have your rookie have to play is brilliant news because that means with each coming week, he's learning and developing more, which is great. And we already said back in the off season where, when we were talking, for all the positions, how much we loved Israel. And we did a big write-up saying, look out for this guy, as well as Nashon Wright. There's another name.
Do we see him at corner? Do we see him at corner on Monday night? With the injury list?
As a non-active.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, fair enough.
You think he's going to be an inactive is what you're thinking, is it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to paint who my corners are. I mean, obviously, Higgs and Lewis.
Given you've got three guys that are going to be definitely out at the moment, and we only had 4 inactives last week, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if Nashon Wright's actually active. Whether he gets on the field or not, I don't know. But
My issue, with Nashon Wright, very tall, very lanky, big arm reach and everything. But as we know, the taller, lankier cornerbacks struggle with the get off and getting up to top speed. And you think Devontae Smith, Jalen Reagor, as you were saying as well, Quez, where are we? Watkins.
Watkins, yep.
Yeah. They are fast guys. They get off quick. They get off fast. And it's funny because last year we said the Eagles offense, it was just very clunky, very slow. But they've built up that speed quick. They're fast receivers now. So I think for a guy like Nashon Wright, he would end up struggling in that respects.
Yeah.
Because Smith has been playing all right. But going back to Curse, I think this is a perfect game for him again because he's going to be up against Dallas Goedert. And at the moment, for him playing against tight ends, he's been great.
He has. Yep. Yeah, he has. Just on the corners, there was kind of a blueprint drawn by the Chargers offense and how to move the ball against the secondary. But going into Monday night, I don't think it's a plan that the Eagles can stick to because I don't see Hurts as the quarterback that can pick mid-range passes and throw into double coverage. I mean, I'm particularly referencing the one Diggs stopped on the play because he basically thought that Herbert wouldn't throw the ball.
He thought that he wouldn't be able to make it, is what it was.
Yeah.
Because it is an impossible throw.
I mean, it was a first-class throw. I've seen that mentioned a couple of times that
there was no loft on that pass either. It was a laser.
QBs simply do not throw that ball, and that's why Diggs slowed up on it. But he got the connection. But I don't see Jalen Hurts doing that.
No, I mean, Hurts hasn't thrown an interception yet this season, but I think that's going to change this game. I think there's multiple opportunities for our secondary. And we just need to make sure that we tighten up some of these weak zones that we maybe had against the Chargers.
It's just a bit of a refinements. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to be two games into the season and our defense is already a hell of a lot better. Now, you could say that our passing defense is actually 31st in the league at the moment, but you've given up 400. You've given up almost 400 yards to Brady.
The old version.
That was a good one.
That is a fantastic comment, Andrew. Fantastic.
The big issue I've got with the big problem I have with the Cowboys defense at the moment is defending passing plays on third down. They just seem to they're doing the hard work as well with it all. They're there, and like it seems to be that they get to like say when the players are trying to play out of structure. So they've closed the gaps, they've stopped the routes, the scramble drill comes in, and they can't seem to defend it. You're like, come on, you're doing the hard part. The out of the structure stuff, it's you've been doing that your whole lives. So that gets a bit frustrating. And I had my frustrations in last week's game because it was fucking pissing me off. But it's just
my God, you actually hear Mike swear? Holy shit!
I'll put some money in the Christmas swear jar.
It must have been bad.
Yeah, it did. It hacks me off in that sense. But here's one of the things that I looked at that I thought is great for Randy Gregory, because we're going to add him into this factor as well. That the Eagles and Jalen Hurts, he has the third. Is it the third or the fourth? One of the longest I put anyway. Time to throw. That he waits for those plays to develop, to get to the scramble drill, as we say. So if the Cowboys are slowing the routes down and staying on top of them, he is time to throw on average is 3.4 seconds. That's a long time.
That's why he's
that's
not
like over a second longer.
That's one of the reasons why he's not a first-round quarterback. It's as simple as that. He needs to throw when he can't throw somebody open. Somebody needs to become open for him to find them. You're not going to see Diggs throw into double coverage on a slant route, for instance. It's got to be clearly open. And again, that's why he wasn't picked in the first round, because that's one of his issues.
Yeah, he was like that in Alabama too. He was running around. And one of the reasons Nick Saban kind of moved on from him and went to Tua, because Tua would somewhat do the same, but he would at least try and make the tight window throws, which is what Jalen won't do. But more to the point is why I'm thinking the 3.4 seconds is that if he's going to wait in the pocket for that long, when you've got Randy Gregory, and then if I'm Micah Parsons and they go, right, you need to be there to defend the run, which we'll get to in a minute, but you're there really for Jalen Hurts to contain and get to. If he's in there for 3.4 seconds, that's a long time for Randy Gregory and Parsons to get in there and try and break up the play, because it's going to be about finishing. It's not about the pressures, because escaping pressure and throwing again when he's under pressure, like Hurts is right up there at the top in being able to do it. So it's not about just creating pressure. It's about finishing. They've got to finish on the play. In whatever way it is.
A 4-4 linebacker is the perfect antidote, isn't he?
Really? Yeah.
Of course he is.
At 250 pound, we'll about do it. Yeah.
I mean, I just want to touch on the Eagles' running game for a minute, because
go for it. I got some good ones for that.
See, an hour into the show, you'd think it was going to be a complete whitewash, and I just want to highlight maybe an area of the team where the Eagles could make a dent. I mean, we're talking about Hurts' arm an awful lot, but I do think we need to consider his feet. I mean, just a quick glance on NFL.com, they are second in rushing. So don't think this is going to be a complete whitewash. They will. They can score points on teams.
This is one of the points I made on the British and Irish Heroes podcast last night. It's like, I think the biggest threat for us is ensuring that we keep Jalen Hurts inside the pocket. If he's outside the pocket, then that's when he's going to be his most dangerous, obviously, because he is a good runner for a quarterback.
Yeah, very good. He will find those lanes. He's good at it. And he's fast as well. That's the thing. He's not so much fast, he's quick.
And just to add on top of it, and this is where we're kind of going back to the whole conversation about like some Micah Parsons. He is going to spy on top of like Hurts, like being more the cover defensive end. If that's the case, make sure that he doesn't move outside.
Yeah, he's got to do that. He's got to follow him round. And going back to the running game, the Cowboys defense at the moment is allowing 73 yards per game in rushing. So they are stopping the run. Much can be said, mind you, about the teams that they play, but they've done it against Eckler. Eckler only got, I think, 54 yards. But here's an interesting one. Their number one running back, Miles Sanders. They do have Kenny Gainwell as well. But Miles Sanders, his yards after contact is just less than 2.4 yards. That's fifth worst amongst all starting running backs.
Mm-hmm. Is Jordan Howard still there? Is Jordan Howard still an Eagle?
Good question.
I can check. I mean,
just again,
you keep going for now.
No, he's not the.
No, he's not. According to Brian, he's
not.
Sanders, Gainwell, and Boston Scott are your three running backs.
I mean, Jalen Hurts is their leading rusher. I mean, with 144 yards, Miles Sanders 129. So that's your threat. That's the threat on the Eagles' offense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, our running game has improved vastly.
Boston Scott,
but it's gonna have to be on its toes to keep them out of the end zone. I mean, after the display we saw from DeMarcus Lawrence, it's disappointing that he's out. Huge to have Gregory back, and I just hope that the line can continue its rise, because I think we're going to need them. I mean, obviously teams will score points, but if we can get the lead with a running game, their running game isn't going to be enough to keep them in the game. They're going to have to go to the pass sooner or later, and that's where I think they'll fall down.
Oh, they can't play a game.
I'm nervous about being so confident, but the stats are there. The stats are there to be confident about this game. I just hope it all comes together, and I hope Steele keeps his rise, and I hope the run game stays as good as it has been so far. There's a lot of hope in there, but you can only go by what you're seeing. At the moment, we're seeing a lot of good things. I just hope it continues.
And there's a lot to be confident about. Most of it is down to Micah Parsons, but this is a perfect game for Micah Parsons. That everything because what he's got to do is basically his job is to stop the run, which we know that they can do. We've just talked about their running backs and how they look statistically, and his other job is to get Hurts and keep him contained. Okay, two of the big things Parsons can do best.
Yep.
The lion is always hungry.
Yes. I've given him the name. He's called the chess piece. Micah the chess piece Parsons. So
I thought you were talking about me there eating my pizza.
No. We know what you like as well, mind you. In Scotland, have you had that pizza deep fried? I still don't get why you guys do that, mind.
I don't even know why we do it, to be honest. It's fucking bogging.
No, I have no clue. I remember once getting really, really drunk.
Oh, here's a Here's a question. Brian's asking, do you think we'll get our first pick 6? I think we will.
Yeah. I tell you what,
Yep.
I'm going to go one step further. They're going to get a pump block for a return. Yeah, baby.
Hey, with this
aggressive.
Cowboys special teams, anything's possible.
It's possible. It's all possible. Pick 6. See, now I'm having a feeling that people are going to start giving Diggs the respect he deserves, and they'll start like playing a little bit of keep away from him.
Oh, we got into that on the post game as well. Yeah,
It's all about Anthony Brown.
Not quite yet, but it will come.
Is he Byron Jones 2.0?
No, he's a different player.
I certainly think it's possible that, with all these bubble screens that they do, if you can get in and read it right and be there to break up the bubble screen, if you've got your timing right, you can be there, you can get your hands on the ball, and then nobody's around you because the offensive line are all trying to block in front of the receiver. If you can get in and get to the ball, you got an open end zone, and I think that's entirely possible. I was going
to say what you could do in that sense, because you're going to go down that road, is you have to use Brent Urban, and you could even put an eye out there, and an eye's got a quick get off, and if you put them in the flats in zone cover, it's very, very possible that the interception could come that way on those screens.
I mean, you saw an eye obviously picking up the taunting call against the Chargers last week as well. I mean, he was in coverage on that play as well, so. And he was there to make the tackle as soon as the pass was there. Now, I think he also almost got his hand in to bat it away. So that's why he got the taunting call against him. So because obviously the guy came up and said, "Oh, you're not that good at pass coverage or whatever." And
I think it was slightly more.
I don't know what people think about the taunting call.
No, I mean. You just have to look back at last week. The anticipation for Diggs's interception, if he can get a quick step on the ball and recognize it, there's no reason why. I mean, see if you pick off a bubble pass, you're off to the races, and it's dependent on if the wide receiver can catch up to you.
Yeah.
That can be the way it goes, because at the end of the day as well, don't forget that if you can get pressure, I'm not really thinking the Cowboys are going to try and go like blitzing you, because as we said, Jalen Hurts, let him sit in there and pass, let him throw the ball, but this O-line can definitely be beaten, as we've talked about with the weaknesses in there, with a guy who's not played in the NFL, 2 guys that are long in the tooth, and a rookie. There's definitely ways you can get through in there with what they can do. Parsons being that other part too, because don't forget as well, Parsons last week 8 pressures and 1 sack. Just to put that into perspective, the Kansas City Chiefs in week 2 as a team total on defense had 6 pressures, 0 sacks.
We've on that sack you're talking about, Mike. We've had Paul and
I know
statement on it. What do you guys think of it? Are you the same?
I get the reasons for the call, that it's about protecting the quarterback, and it's nice that a call like that goes into Cowboys' favor. Yeah, but for me, it's a very dubious call. I get the reasons why they did it, and I think some of it as well is that they were trying to overcorrect for bad calls that they made earlier on in the game. And that's where the NFL with officiating can sometimes go wrong, because they try and compensate for bad calls, and it's like, well, no, just get it right the first time.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing as well is that I can say about that one is that Herbert was going back about 5 yards before they actually called the play. So I'm
hard on that one.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a case that he was going to swipe Parsons off him. He did get the ball away. But I mean, yeah, would you have called intentional grounding because the ball never went back to the line of scrimmage? There wasn't anybody nearby.
Is the next argument?
Yeah.
It's an awkward one. It's a hard one, but I was like, I don't know. But right then, guys, let's do this so we can move on to the last section. Score predictions. Score predictions.
I know my score already.
All right, then. So at home as well, guys, give us your score predictions before we move to the next section, which you'll all want to get involved with. Go on and Paul, if you've got your score prediction, hit me with it.
I am going to say 35-31 Dallas.
Wow. All right, then. Go on then, guys. You got your score predictions? Or do you want me to go?
Go on, Mike.
Okay. I am going 38-21. A blowout. Okay.
I'm going to be slightly more reserved than you guys. I'm going to go 24-13 Cowboys.
I like it.
And I'm going 27-13 Cowboys.
27-13. I can see that.
From you guys, where do you see the Eagles' run game scoring the points?
Nope. Well, maybe if it's hurt and we lose containment on him. That's the only way it's going to happen.
Yeah.
That's it for me. Not the running backs.
No.
I don't. No. I mean, it's interesting that none of us have said wide receivers. We don't see the Eagles wide receivers as a big threat.
I think the Eagles wide receivers will be a big break. They're the big. It'll be a big time throw with a long, like a 50-yard touchdown. That's where that comes from.
My main concern, my main concern is Devontae Smith. That's my main concern. Like once he's actually got the ball at a wide open space, he can actually gain quite a lot of good yards up front.
I think the biggest threat, wide receiver wise, is Quez Watkins. That guy is rapid. He is fast. I mean, fast.
And I mean, Smith, for all he was good in week one, he had issues last week against the 49ers. I suppose it's the way the 49ers defense played him. I don't know, but it wasn't an easy job it wasn't easy for him last week. There was a few drops. There was a few miscommunications going on. So, I think Rager and Watkins will be your danger men, if anything.
Yeah.
You
can bet Dan Quinn.
It's Quez. He's dodgy.
Dan Quinn has watched that game tape an awful lot this week.
He's looked at Quez. Rager's got some wheels on him as well, mind. So you can't just dismiss him as well. But should we get to the fantasy lounge, guys? Should we do it? Get all these fantasy lounge comments and what have you. Let's do it. So straight out the board, by the way, put the scores up from week 2. Craig Cameron is leading away. UK Cowboys leading away. Our very own Craig Cameron with 31 points. So just so you know, guys, it is not too late to start, because if you get them right in succession, just like Craig did, that score, poof, it flies up there. All right then, guys. So very, very easy to play. Saturday is when you could do it now, but it doesn't count. Do it on the post that we put up Saturday, and all you got to do is over or under. Is really simple. You're in with a chance. Consecutive scores double your points, and at the end of the season, whoever's got the most points wins a UK Cowboys pennant, totally free, and it's all yours, just for a bit of fun. But let's start off then, guys. All right. I will make Lorne go first, and we'll wheel it that way round. Dak Prescott, 21 fantasy points. Is that a boy oh boy or an oh boy?
I'm going to go boy oh boy on that one, I think.
All right, hold on. So we got Lorne, Graham, and we've got Mr. Paul, the pizzeria. So Lorne's going over. Go on then, Gray.
Boy, oh boy.
Yeah, you're going higher.
Don't even have to think about it.
Yeah, and Paul's going higher. All right, here's a tricky one. I looked at this and I was like, and I could see where they're going. And the reason I'm saying this, Tony Pollard. So Zeke, 15 fantasy points.
Boy, oh boy.
Yeah,
boy, oh boy.
I think he's going to eat this week. So yeah, boy, oh boy.
When you think about it, like, so see if you were to put in perspective what the game against the Chargers was.
Yes.
71 yards, that's 7 points. Then you've got your touchdown, that's 6 points. So that was like 14 points already.
And that is receptions.
Yeah, about 30 yards
And
receptions as well. Yep.
And this is half PPR.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Greg?
boy, oh boy, for sure.
He's
boy, oh boy.
Oh, all right, he's going for it. All right then. CD Lamb. Here we go. CD Lamb, 17 fantasy points. Boy, oh boy, or oh boy?
I think that's a fair statement. I think it's on the cuff.
Yeah, I'll push on that one, I think.
And we got 2 pushes, so they're going for 17. Mr. Graham.
Oh boy.
Oh
boy. Simply because
I can see where you're going.
I think he's the double coverage this week.
He very much could be. I see. All right then. All right, Amari Cooper, who by the way got 5 points last week. This was the one that killed most people in the consecutive points. CD Lamb, 17 fantasy points.
Is this for Cooper?
This is for Coop.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Oh dear, everyone's going lower on that one. All right then.
Simply because we've stomped them with the run game. Let's not get. I mean, we're not being negative on the wide receivers. We're just winning the game somewhere else. Don't worry about it.
I think you're being negative, but all right.
not only just that. It's like how well recovered is Cooper going to be after the rib as well?
Yeah. I see where you're going. All right then. We'll go for the next one then. Jalen Hurts at 19 fantasy points. Is that a boy, oh boy, or oh boy?
The rushing yards depending. So I'd say he's going to be boy, oh boy.
Boy, oh boy.
Mm-hmm.
Boy.
I've got faith in the Cowboys defense. I'm going oh boy.
What the heck?
Where we were going then. All right, Miles Sanders, 13 fantasy points.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
I would say that.
Oh boy.
He's not getting 100-yard game, is he? Come on. Devontae Smith, 11 fantasy points.
That's fair. That's spot on, I think.
I mean, he gets 6 for a touchdown.
Correct.
He only needs one reception.
One reception of 50 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, I'll push on that one, I think.
Yeah. I think
can Jalen Hurts get it to him?
Well,
that's the problem. Oh boy.
Yes. Oh, all right. I like the Grim's going for it. Dallas Goedert, 11 fantasy points. Is Curse up to the task?
Oh boy.
No, Paulius Maximus.
Oh boy as well, yeah.
What was the line again? Sorry, Mike.
11.
Oh boy.
11 points.
You're going. You're going.
Dallas Goedert.
It's a sneaky one, that one, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, it's got to throw to somebody.
Yeah, my only concern is he won't make that up if he's in the red zone area.
That's what I was going to say. It's the red zone. And you think that you just need Dallas Goedert to make a touchdown and to chew up some yardage, add your half-point PPR into it as well. It's close. I think it's less but it's close.
Do you know what? I'm
But
going to say Boyle.
I'm not here to convince you guys.
I'm going to say, and I'll tell you why. I'm going to say Boyle boy, simply because he's called Dallas, and the Eagles love bringing it up that they've got a player called Dallas that plays against us.
Like it. The psychological factor. I like it.
Yeah, they love bringing it up. They do it all the time.
I
but
had to do
yes.
that the other night.
But guys, that is this week's show, the pre-game show for the Eagles. Thank you to everyone that's joined us. As we say every week, you're the MVPs. And thank you to everyone who joined in on last week's Fantasy Lounge predictions. That post will go up on Saturday with these scores. All you got to do, very, very simple. Under or over, and you're in. That's it.
Yep.
Job done. Just do it every
so,
week. And keep racking them points up.
Yeah, so the post will all be available on our Facebook page, Instagram, and Twitter.
And don't forget to share Nick Sirianni's t-shirt on Tuesday morning. You can
God damn it, the heating's gone on in you.
That's going right up on the wall. I'm telling you.
He's an idiot. He's an absolute idiot.
Nah.
That's like Peterson going on the radio and saying, "Oh, we're going to win this week." And
for all those that don't know, Nick Sirianni appeared in a press conference with a T-shirt saying "Beat Dallas" with both the helmets. So.
And as well, guys, before we go, just a quick shout out to all our friends out there. Go and check them all out. Some of these you'll know, some of them you won't. But we only share the good guys. All the guys that we like, help us out, talk to us. Check them all out. Some good stuff going on. And we're all friends. But as I say, no virtual tailgate this year for you this week for UK Cowboys. Been there. It's kicking off gone 1 a.m. But we will be back on Tuesday, 9 p.m. post-game show with Brian and the crew. So join in then as well. And then we'll see you and have a great weekend. I'll let these guys finish it all off. Have a great weekend, guys.
Have a great weekend and go Cowboys.
Beat Philly.
Have a good weekend. And to paraphrase Meg Murray, Dallas forever, Philly for never.
Yes.
Rectamundo. Have a great weekend, folks.